Oh, hello, my wonderful, beautiful broskies of the wonderful, beautiful Maverick Nation, Dark Side of Maverick Nation, and I am the Dark Side of Maverick, here with another What If video for you today. Boosh! Oh, that's why I get myself pumped up. You know, boosh! Boom. And you know the reason why we need to be pumped up? Because I'm going to be releasing, finally, after such a long while of this What If not receiving new parts, part 7 of What If BakuDeku. Yes, I bet you guys weren't exactly sure that this What If was going to get another part. I'm betting that you guys weren't exactly sure. Until I have a part where at the end it says end, you know, that I'm still keeping the what if. That is, unless I erase all the videos and erase the playlist, because all of my videos are kept in playlists of their own. Because that's just how I do things. I like to keep them nice and neat and tidy and organized, because my OCD will not let me not have that happen. So, yeah, obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a thing, and I have it. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Hmm. Well, from what happened last part, I can remember. Basically, everything with what life is going to be like now. You know, 2 kids, and I'm keeping the names the same. Baku, shit. Izurai and Bakurai. Yeah. Yeah, Izurai and Bakurai. And I am going to have it to where, seeing as the whole Quirk Doctor thing doesn't happen until like 4 or 5, I'm gonna put a safe bet to say, because like last part they were like 17. So I'm gonna say 17 plus 5 is 22, I think. Because 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It should be 22. Because that's 5. I just counted 5 things. So yeah, 22 should be a safe bet. I'm gonna say that Bakugo and Izuku are both 22 now, this part. And they've already gotten their hero's license. And since it's been 5 years, that's over 3 years. And high school, like 3 years, you have thing. So they would have already gotten their hero license from graduating, like, UA. And, the whole hero thing. Like, that would just be something. I'm gonna say that they're going to be doing on and off hero working. Like, I'm gonna say that because of just how much Izuku and Canon fanboys over All Might, and All Might's more of a day hero, I'm gonna say Izuku kind of takes like the day shifts to do hero work. And seeing as Izuku would already be doing the freaking day shifts for hero work, like considering the hero work, and the person who would be taking care of the night shifts and considering the family. Well, Bakugo would be the one to do that, because Izuku would be taking care of the day shifts. And so it's kind of a fractured relationship, the whole household, because they don't really have that much time where it's the four of them together as a complete, total family unit. And there are even on some times where both of them have to go out because it's a really dangerous case. A really dangerous villain, or a bunch of villains, or just something that would require both of their attentions. So sometimes they even have to be babysitted by, Mitsuki and whatever the name of Bakugo's dad is, or, Inko. It would either be Inko babysitting or Mitsuki and whatever Bakugo's dad's name is babysitting. So yeah, there would even be times where they would have to be babysit. And well, this would only be 5 years, so it would still not be seen as too embarrassing, for 5-year-olds to have someone to take care of them, babysit them. And, even though they're only 5, Izurai and Bakurai both know that their parents, basically, their parents, this is only happening because, of the situation. If both of them have to be out there at the same time, that kind of has to happen because they can't just be left alone to themselves. Who knows what they would freaking do if they were left alone to their own devices? Being only 5, both of them being the same age. And I'm going to say that both Mitsuki and whatever the name of Bakugo's dad is, please someone tell me in the comments, because I do not know worth jack shit what his name is. And, Inko, the three of them would be informed of the defect just as soon as, Izuku and Bakugo found out about it. Because, they wouldn't find out about it automatically. Because, well, they would only really find out about it once the whole spanking in order to make sure the baby's actually alive. Because, if you spank the baby and it cries, that's a clear sign that it's alive. That's why the doctors do it. At least that's what I know. That's why they do it. And as soon as Izurai starts to cry, you know, that's whenever the defect would activate. Because, like I said, high emotional, whenever Izurai's very emotional, that's whenever the defect activates. And so, yeah. And I'm actually going to say that Izurai would actually have a separate quirk from One For All or the Explosion. That it would kind of be a combination that Bakurai would have just because of One For All being in there, it'd be a more powerful, kind of like the X-Men thing. Each generation becomes more powerful of a power, like a mutant power. It would kind of be like the X-Men thing. It would just be more powerful explosions. But with Izurai, this would kind of be like the whole totally new quirk entirely. And, it would eventually be named, because of the way it works and what exactly it is, what exactly it does, stun gun. It's basically what it would be named. And the reason why it would be named stun gun, well, it's very clear why it would be named stun gun. Like, well, Izurai seems to only really be able to use stun gun whenever the defect is active. And that's really troublesome, because if the defect isn't active, she can't use her quirk. And the defect resembles someone who Bakugo heavily still hates. And, just the look that Izurai would get from her father, and how Izuku would have to remind Bakugo, hey, this may be similar, but it's not, And Bakugo would be like, oh, shit. It happened again. I really need to work on that. And Izuku's like, exactly. It's like, no dip, Sherlock, you need to work on it. And Izurai would just realize that, seeing as she can only use her quirk, which, whenever the whole quirk testing thing was done, stun gun, it's basically, I'm going to say it's actually 3 quirks in one. The stun gun is basically freaking. It would be the 3 different quirks complete together. From, the 3 different, I guess you could say, family stems of the family tree. Because Bakugo, and then you have Izuku, then you have the whole thing with the defect, and, how that kind of symbolizes Shigaraki. So there would be 3 different quirks in one, and that's what stun gun would be. It would be one for all, explosions, and decay. Basically, how this would work is, it would basically be like Bakurai's quirk, the more powerful explosions due to One for All being infused with it, but it wouldn't just be more powerful explosions. These would kind of be like nukes. They would just spread off to anything and everything, and then anything and everything that they spread off to would just get eroded away as well. So the mushroom cloud effect of a nuclear bomb going off. So yeah, basically, if Bakurai's explosion quirk is just a more powerful version of her father's quirk, this one, stun gun here, is basically that on steroids. Because it would have, the decay, any of the particles from the explosions. Yeah, anything that the particles touched, the explosive particles, anything that they touched, would get like decayed around, kind of like nuclear, like kind of like basically like radiation poisoning, like on a mass level. So not only will the explosions be super overhyped, but like the after effect of the explosions, even like the light that the explosion would give off would kind of have some sort of trail off like radiation, like decaying radiation. It would just eat everything away, like eat away everything. So unlike just like regular explosions where like there could be like some sort of like pieces of whatever exploded left, there would be nothing left of whatever was exploded. Absolutely everything would be gone. It would just be like if it was erased from the earth. So yeah, you'd be ready to call it like a freaking nuclear bomb quirk with like miniature nuclear bombs. And they go by like really fast. Well, they can, but they can also be like prolonged, like to shoot out like really far. Basically, it's a do whatever your mind puts to it kind of quirk. Like kind of like a sandbox quirk. Like if you know what I mean, like games like Minecraft, like sandbox games. It's kind of like one of those sandbox things, a sandbox quirk. It's basically do whatever with like this nuclear explosion quirk that you want. Like you can shoot it out in like streams or like clusters or just random pop off explosions. Tribute to Mineta. As if the man's dead. Like shoot off in streams or like in clusters or just pops, like little pin pops, boop boop, or clusters or streams like freaking fireworks. And yeah, it's just a do anything with what you want, what you will kind of quirk. And it's just like, it's just a really hard to control quirk as well. Because, you know, the defect only happens whenever, like, Izurai is really emotional. So, yeah, this is this is gonna be a problem. Anyways, Izurai would have the whole quirk thing that she could only use whenever the defect was active. And then there would be Bakurai, who would just have the more powerful, like, one for all based explosions. And, well, just, what can you say to that? Like, I'm not really sure how, like, Mitsuki and Inko and everybody else would react to seeing stun gun in action, like the stun gun quirk. And, well, how exactly Bakugo and Izuku would explain that shit? I mean, it's hard enough for me to explain. I think they're gonna explain it. Other than it's just kind of has an element of Shigaraki in it as well. And I guess it would make sense that it would only be able to be used whenever the defect is active, because that's whenever the hair turns into like the Shigaraki color, so that would kind of make sense. And, well, just, well, I'm gonna say, like, middle school. I'm, I think elementary school would be gentle enough. I mean, they're just kids, and plus, both of their parents are pretty powerful heroes. So, I don't think any elementary school kid would want to mess with people like that. But whenever it gets up to middle school, things get a little bit complicated. Because, well, Izurai and Bakurai, they would both want to go to UA. And so whenever it came to the last year of middle school, like the last day of the last year of middle school, they would both sign up for UA. And so Bakurai would kind of see this as kind of like a declaration of war. Like, oh, you signed up too? The same place, same time? Oh, you want to go? You want to go? And I'm just going to go ahead here and say that Izurai isn't really all that confident of a person. Like, doesn't have a lot of confidence within themselves. Especially because of the fact that they know that their quirk, Stun Gun, it it's very, very, very deadly and should not be used, like, unless it's absolutely necessary, like, to use it at the time. And so, just Izurai would not have a lot of confidence in herself. And Bakurai would just be like, sis, you gotta learn to lighten the load. I mean, if you're gonna go to UA with me, you have to learn how to have some experience with your quirk. And how are you gonna learn how to control it if you don't have any experience with it? Bakurai would be making some pretty good points. And so Izurai would try to train with her quirk. Somewhere where nobody can see her and, like, hear her quirk go off. Izurai would just start to think about things that would make her feel the emotion that would allow her to use the quirk. Just bring up her emotions to the surface. She would constantly be thinking about this guy. Her dad, her papa, they would, instead of dad, they would call Bakugo Papa. And instead of mom, they would call Izuku Mama. Or Mommy. Not Nani, Mommy. Omae no shindeyu. Nani? Freaking mosquitoes. Anyways, basically, she'd be in a secluded area, and then she would just start just. I hate him. She would just be like throwing it like wildfire, just like taking out all her frustrations on the nearby land. It's like, I hate Tamara Shigaraki. And that last one was like, Shigaraki! We're just boom! Like a freaking thunderclap through the area. And, Bakurai would just think, uh, my power. I was able to control it through my emotions. How much I wanted to let off. Because, however angry she got was however big the explosions were. So, if she can control her anger, she can control her quirk. And so basically, she realized whenever she got as angry as she could get, like blew her freaking top, she blew off the top of most, like everything around her. And she would call that biggest explosion that she was able to pull off, she would call it the supernova impact. Like, instead of howitzer impact, it would be the supernova impact. Like, she would just have to think of a way how she could get herself up there, like all the way up into the sky, and then come down with that explosion. And that's basically how she puts together, like, how she would do an attack like that. Like, kind of like the howitzer impact, but instead of just, like, Bakugo's explosion, it would be like a freaking thunderclap explosion of nuclear death. But it would be controlled enough as to where it wouldn't kill anyone. Because heroes don't kill. So, yeah. Like, you know, Izurai would just be feeling a lot better, like releasing all that steam, would honestly make her just feel really good inside. Like she needed to release all of that anger. She needed that a lot. And then she would just hear a and it's just like, good job, sis. And Izurai would just be like, Bakurai? When did you get here? And Bakurai would just be like, actually, I've been here the whole entire time. Did you really think I was gonna go ahead and let you go out into the open backhand of nowhere by yourself? No. We girls gotta stay together, even if we aren't rivals now, because of what you decided to do. And Izurai would just be like, oh yeah, that's right, UA. And Bakurai would just be like, well, hey, at least I know what I'm up against now. What was that you said out in the open? Supernova Impact? Pretty badass name. I might have to steal that from you. Just kidding, sis. Just kidding. Just be like, don't nuggy the me. Like, Izurai would just be like, don't nuggy the me. And, well, they would both just go over to the house and it would just be in the middle of the night. And, you know, it will just be the two of them. And, they share a room, actually. Yeah, they share a room and bunk beds. Bakurai has the top, seeing as she was always the more brave and less scared of heights one out of the two. Yeah, Izurai, even though she knows that isn't that high up, she's afraid that she would break a bone if she fell off. So she just decided, yeah, no, I'm fine with the bottom bunk. But no, Bakurai was like, top bunk it is! Huzzah! Like, do 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 do. Freaking Legend of Zelda. And well, it would kind of be like a montage of just them training for like the whole UA thing. And if you guys are wondering why I haven't brought up like Chisaki, overhaul, or like the Meta Liberation Army, those guys, you know, Redestro, the guy who runs the friggin' Revelation Army, like Chisaki, the guy who the Yakuza, or like Redestro and his Meta Revelation Army, or whatever the frick their name is. Well, basically, on the news, like, Izurai and Bakurai would be, like, eating breakfast, and this would be the day in which they would take the exam. So, they would just be eating breakfast, and they would hear, basically, on the news, you know, their their father would be there, because Bakugo does the night stuff, and this is during the day because this is right before they go to take the test. So Bakugo would be the one who would be there with them, and they would all just hear over the news like just something about some sort of a individual who calls himself Overhaul, and these like bullets that are supposed to be able to destroy quirks. And apparently, this person, Overhaul, is aligned with the Yakuza. And Baguio was like, takes me back a long time. Takes me back a long time. It just takes him back to like the days whenever it was Izuku and him doing the stuff and the things. So yeah, I'm gonna say that the stuff with Overhaul and the Yakuza and Redestro and the Meta Liberation Army, that stuff like is 5 years into the future. Like I'm gonna do like a time skip for that because in order for it to happen now, there would have to be a time skip for the events if they were going to happen now. And well, Bakurai hearing about the whole thing with this Overhaul guy and him apparently having these quirk destroying bullets, and Bakurai would be like wondering how exactly would you make quirk destroying bullets? Like something about this isn't adding up. Like one of these things is not like the other. Like this circle here is not fitting in this square. If you know what I mean, if you catch my drift. So yeah, Bakurai would just like kind of be like worrying about that, like wondering about that to herself, like just getting everything all ready. And Izurai would just be like, it would just make her more determined than ever to become like really good hero, like get into UA, so that she could help stop people like this, you know. Because as far as she's concerned, this Overhaul guy's a bad dude. As far as her and her sister are concerned, and even her father, like, from what she's hearing, like, Bakugo's kind of mumbling to himself his opinion of Chisaki. They don't say Chisaki, they say Overhaul, but we My Hero Academia aficionados, we know his name is Chisaki. And Overhaul is merely the name of his quirk and kind of like his villain alias. And the whole thing, not just about the quirk destroying bullets, but also about the fact that he's apparently allied with the Yakuza. You know, it's just like those assassin mofos. So, yeah. And, well, just before Izurai and Bakurai were able to head out the door to go and, take the whole test, Bakugo would be like, good luck, and I'm sure if your mother were here, she would wish you good luck too. Like, not in the whole, like, your mother's dead part, like, the whole, like, because she's, like, doing the day hero work. And actually, in the same vein as All Might, the previous Golden Day hero person, in the same vein as him, they would actually, you know, it would be some random Yakuza member who was really high ranking up in, like, the Yakuza, their forces, and he would just jump them as soon as they were going through the tunnel. He would just try to jump them, and Bakurai would just show how, like, adept in a bunch of different martial arts she is. She just doesn't have her quirk to back her up. But she more or less uses her explosions, unlike Bakugo, who uses his explosions because they're explosions. She actually, Bakurai actually uses her explosions to, like, prep up her physical attacks, her physical martial arts. So, like, if she has, like, a kick, she can use an explosion to, like, prep up the kick to hit even harder. Like, if we're going for, like, a Rey Mysterio missile drop kick, she could, like, use some explosions and, like, cause it to, like, create a stream that would make the kick hit even harder than it usually would. And so, yeah, that's how Bakurai does her thing. She actually uses her quirk to enhance her physical ability instead of just using explosions because explosions. And, even though they're pretty much, identical twins within, age and adorableness, you know, that's something like Izurai really looks up to Bakurai because, Bakurai is just so cool in her eyes. Like, Izurai is always like, oh my god, sis, you're so cool! And she just always wanted to be like her sister. And so, basically, what about Izurai's whole quirk thing? Well, technically, I mean, she would have gotten scared because of the fact that they were just jumped, but not enough to where it would be like, I guess it would, like, send out like a mini shockwave, like, and the shockwave would kind of blast at the air, which would send the guy flying back so off balance that the several attacks that Bakurai would have sent his way would have just he would be pretty much out and for the taking. And basically there would just be some yell from the top of the tunnel that they were in, and it would just be like, "Fear not, for I am here!" And they would remember the voice. They would know the voice. They would just both be like, "Mom?" It would just be like, "I do not know what you're talking about. I am..." Okay, fine. What are you two doing here? You know you could get hurt. And Bakurai and Izurai are both like, we're kind of on our way to go and take the UA entrance exam. And Izuku would just be like, "Wait, what? Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I feel so much like shit for not remembering these things. Uh, well, there is one thing that maybe could help with the situation. After I take this guy in for questioning, here's a little secret. I'm going to be teaching you. Don't tell your father, though." And Bakura is probably just like, "Yeah, he probably knows, Mom." And Isarai's just like, "Oh my god, that is so cool! Our mom's is teaching you, oh my god, it's so cool!" And Izuku's just like, "And that means I'll be watching over you two and see how you do on your test. No pressure." And Bakurai would just be like, "What? No pressure? Oh my god, Mom, you are so..." Oh my god. I'm surrounded by idiots. And so it would just be like, Izuku would be gone with the whole Yakuza member, but they would have just been informed, like Bakurai and Izurai would have just been informed that their mother is going to be one of the teachers at UA and is going to be watching them while they're taking the test, along with the other teachers and the principal. Excuse me. And so, yeah, that's that's a thing that happened. And oh, I'm at the 42-minute mark. No, 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 no. 43-minute mark, just now. Yeah, Dallas goes the direction of Maverick is LUT out here. Yeah, boys, like, favorite, subscribe, and click that little bell. And also leave something in the comments for me that isn't just probably some... I keep on getting the same comments in a bunch of different videos that just lead me to something I don't really want to talk about. Because I clicked on it once and it took me somewhere I'm not exactly interested in sharing the information. And so, yeah. Just people that leave me that sort of link stuff to certain sites and certain places on the internet. Stop leaving the links. That stuff I know. Just please don't do that. I would just rather you guys not leave those kind of links. Unless you're gonna, like, link me to something that isn't suspicious and shady as all shit. Just stop leaving the links. But hey, what can I do, really? I'm just me, the Dark Shadow Maverick of the Dark Shadow Maverick Nation. You boys, bye.